The sun was already climbing high when Samuel Adebayo arrived at his usual spot near the Oshodi market. He pushed his wooden food cart slowly, the wheels creaking against the dusty road. The cart wasn't much to look at, old paint peeling off the sides, a faded sign that read, Samuel's Umla and Yudu, written in shaky letters. But it was his. The only thing he truly owned in this world. Samuel was 28 years old, lean and muscular from years of pushing that cart through Lagos traffic. His clothes were simple, a faded blue shirt and black trousers worn thin at the knees. But his smile was warm and his food was good. That's why people came back. He set up quickly, arranged the plastic bowls, lit the small coal stove, laid out the umla he had prepared at 4 a.m. that morning. The yudu soup was still warm in the covered pot. The aroma of locust beans and dried fish filled the air. "Brother Samuel, good morning," a woman called out, already approaching with her empty bowl. "Good morning, Mama Ngozi," Samuel replied with a grin. "The usual? You know me too well," she laughed. Samuel served her quickly, his hands moving with practiced ease. She paid him 200 naira and walked away satisfied. This was Samuel's life. Simple. Honest. He had been selling food on the streets for 6 years, ever since his parents died in a bus accident. He had a younger sister, Hawa, who was 16 and currently battling malaria at home. Medicine was expensive. Rent was due next week. But Samuel never complained. He woke up every day and did his work. "Samuel!" Another voice called. It was Mr. Tund, a taxi driver who ate at his stand every afternoon. "Give me 1 wrap of umla. Big size O." "Yes, sir, coming right now," Samuel replied cheerfully. The morning passed in a blur of customers. By noon, Samuel had sold almost half his food. It was a good day. Maybe he'd make enough to buy Hawa's medicine tonight. As he wiped down his cart, preparing for the afternoon rush, he heard it. A soft sound. Crying. Samuel looked up and scanned the busy market. Traders shouted their prices. Motorcycles roared past. Buses honked. But somewhere in all that noise, a child was crying. He looked left, then right, and then he saw her. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, sitting on the ground near a pile of old tires. Her pink dress was dirty and torn at the hem. Her small feet were bare. Tears streamed down her round cheeks. Her hair was uncombed, sticking up in different directions. People walked past her without stopping. Some glanced down, shook their heads, and kept moving. A motorcycle nearly ran over her foot. She jerked back and cried louder. Samuel's chest tightened. He left his cart and walked toward her. "Hey," he said softly, kneeling down so he was at her level. "What's wrong, small girl?" The girl looked up at him with big, frightened eyes. She hiccuped and wiped her nose with the back of her hand. "I can't find my grandpa," she whispered. Samuel's heart squeezed. "Your grandpa? Where did you last see him?" I don't remember," the girl said, her voice shaking. Fresh tears spilled down her face. "We were in the car. Then I saw balloons. I wanted a balloon. I ran. And now, I can't find him." Samuel looked around. The market was huge. Thousands of people passed through here every day. If she had wandered away from her family, they could be anywhere. "What's your name?" Samuel asked gently. "Zainab," the girl said. "Okay, Zainab. My name is Samuel. Don't worry, we'll find your grandpa. Do you know his name?" Zainab's face scrunched up as she tried to remember. Grandpa Ibrahim." Samuel nodded. "Good. That's good. Do you know where you live?" Zainab shook her head, more tears falling. "I don't know. It's a big house. With a gate. And flowers." Samuel sighed quietly. That description could fit 1,000 houses in Lagos. "Okay," he said, forcing his voice to stay calm. "Have you eaten today?" Zainab shook her head. Samuel's decision was immediate. "Let me give you some food first. Then we'll look for your grandpa together." He stood and held out his hand. Zainab hesitated, then took it. Her small hand was warm and dirty. Samuel led her back to his cart. He served her a small portion of umla and yudu in a plastic bowl. Zainab stared at the food like she'd never seen it before. "It's okay," Samuel said with a smile. It's good. Zainab picked up the spoon and took a tiny bite. Her eyes widened. Then she started eating faster, like she was starving. Samuel watched her with a mixture of sadness and relief. Where were her parents? Where was this Grandpa Ibrahim? How long had she been lost? After Zainab finished eating, Samuel cleaned her hands with a wet cloth and asked his neighbor, Mama Kike, who sold yam and pepper, to watch his cart. Where are you going? Mama Kike asked suspiciously. I need to help this girl find her family, Samuel said. Mama Kike glanced at Zainab and shook her head. Samuel, don't go looking for trouble. Leave her at the police station and come back to your work. I'll be quick, Samuel said. But he wasn't quick. He spent the next 3 hours walking Zainab around the market, asking everyone if they knew a little girl who was lost. Asking if anyone had seen a man looking for his granddaughter. Asking. No one knew anything. By the time Samuel returned to his cart, the afternoon rush was over. He had missed it. Missed the sales. Missed the money. Mama Kike gave him a pitying look. I tried to serve people, but they only wanted to buy from you. They left. Samuel forced a smile. It's okay, Ma. Thank you for watching my things. Zainab stood close to Samuel, holding the hem of his shirt like she was afraid he would disappear too. What are you going to do with her? Mama Kike asked. Samuel looked down at Zainab's tired face. I don't know yet. That evening, Samuel took Zainab home with him. He lived in a single room in Mushin, a crowded neighborhood where buildings leaned against each other and the smell of open gutters mixed with fried akra in the air. His sister Hawa was lying on their thin mattress when he entered. She looked up weakly. Brother, you're late, Hawa said, then noticed the little girl. Who is this? Her name is Zainab, Samuel said, closing the door. She's lost. I'm trying to find her family. Hawa sat up slowly, wincing from the ache in her body. Lost? For how long? Since this morning. Hawa looked at Zainab with sympathy. Poor thing. Have you eaten, Zainab? Zainab nodded shyly. I'll take her back to the market tomorrow, Samuel said. Maybe someone will recognize her. But tomorrow came and no one recognized her. The day after that, still nothing. 1 week passed. Then 2 weeks. Then 3. Every day, Samuel brought Zainab to the market with him. Every day, he fed her from the food he was supposed to sell. Every day, his profits got smaller. People began to talk. That Samuel is foolish, Rashid, a rival food seller, said loudly to anyone who would listen. Rashid sold rice and beans a few stalls down. He was jealous of Samuel's steady customers. He's wasting good food on a street child. Meanwhile, his own sister is sick at home. Maybe the child is his responsibility, someone suggested. Responsibility? Rashid laughed. He doesn't even know her family. He's just too soft. Soft people don't survive in Lagos. Some of Samuel's regular customers stopped coming. They went to Rashid instead. Rashid's sales increased. He smiled wickedly every time Samuel walked past. But Samuel didn't stop. Every morning he made extra amla just for Zainab. Every afternoon, he asked strangers if they had seen a man looking for a lost granddaughter. Every evening he brought Zainab home, bathed her, let her sleep beside Hawa. Hawa grew weaker. The malaria wasn't getting better. She needed better medicine, the kind that cost 3,000 naira. But Samuel's sales had dropped so much, he could barely afford the cheap tablets from the corner chemist. One night, Hawa grabbed Samuel's hand weakly. Brother, she whispered, you have to let her go. Take her to the police. To a church. Anywhere. You can't keep feeding her. We don't have enough. Samuel's throat tightened. I can't just abandon her, Hawa. You're going to kill yourself trying to save everyone, Hawa said, tears in her eyes. What about me? What about us? Samuel looked away, guilt eating at him. I'll find her family soon. I promise. But he didn't know if that was true. The next day, Rashid approached Samuel's cart with a smug grin. Samuel, my friend, Rashid said, his voice dripping with false friendliness. I have a business proposition for you. Samuel looked up warily. What do you want, Rashid? I'll buy your cart from you, Rashid said. 5,000 naira. That's more than you'll make in 2 weeks the way things are going. Samuel's jaw clenched. My cart is not for sale. Rashid shrugged. Suit yourself. But when you can't pay rent next week, don't say I didn't offer. Rashid walked away laughing. Samuel looked down at Zainab, who was sitting quietly beside the cart, drawing pictures in the dust with a stick. Uncle Samuel, Zainab said softly. Am I a trouble to you? Samuel's heart broke. He knelt down and cupped her small face in his hands. No, Zainab. You're not trouble. You're a blessing. Zainab smiled, and for a moment, all of Samuel's worries disappeared. But that night, reality crashed back in. Samuel counted his money. 1,200 naira. Rent was 2,000. Hawa's medicine was 3,000. Food for the week was at least 1,000. He was short. Very short. Samuel sat on the floor of his room, his head in his hands. Hawa was asleep. Zainab was asleep. The kerosene lamp flickered. God, Samuel whispered. I'm trying to do the right thing. But I don't know how much longer I can hold on. Please, help me. The next morning, Samuel woke up determined. He would make today count. He would sell more food than ever before. He would find Zainab's family. He would get medicine for Hawa. He would fix everything. He prepared extra umla, extra yudu. He even bought a small piece of beef to add to the soup, using the last of his savings. At the market, he set up his cart with renewed energy. Fresh umla. Best yudu in Lagos. Come and eat. Samuel called out. A few customers stopped. Sales were slow but steady. Then, around noon, Zainab tugged on Samuel's shirt. Uncle Samuel, I'm hungry. Samuel smiled. Okay, small madam. Let me serve you. He was preparing Zainab's plate when a loud voice interrupted. You again? Still feeding this street rat? Samuel looked up. It was Rashid, standing with his arms crossed, a mocking grin on his face. Leave us alone, Rashid, Samuel said tiredly. You know what I think? Rashid said, loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. I think you're keeping this girl on purpose. Maybe you're planning to use her for something. Maybe you're waiting for her rich family to offer a reward. Samuel's blood boiled. What did you just say? You heard me, Rashid sneered. Poor man like you suddenly playing father to a lost child? It doesn't make sense. Unless you're planning something. A small crowd began to gather, listening. Samuel's fists clenched. But before he could respond, a small voice spoke up. Uncle Samuel is a good man. Everyone turned. Zainab was standing beside Samuel, her small face fierce despite the tears forming in her eyes. He gave me food when I was hungry, Zainab said loudly. He asked everyone to help find my grandpa. He let me sleep in his house. He is not bad. You are bad. The crowd murmured. Some people looked ashamed. Others nodded in agreement. Rashid's face turned red. You little. Enough, Mama Kike interrupted, stepping forward. Rashid, go back to your stall. You're just jealous that Samuel has more customers than you. Rashid glared at everyone, then spat on the ground and walked away. Samuel exhaled slowly. He looked down at Zainab and smiled. Thank you. Zainab hugged his leg. The crowd slowly dispersed. But one woman stayed behind. Her name was Fatima, and she was one of Samuel's most loyal customers. She was young, maybe 25, with kind eyes and a warm smile. Samuel, Fatima said softly, you're a good man. Don't let people like Rashid make you doubt that. Samuel nodded, grateful. Thank you, Sister Fatima. Fatima glanced at Zainab, then back at Samuel. If you need help, let me know. I don't have much, but I can spare something. Samuel's eyes stung with emotion. You're too kind. Fatima smiled and walked away. The rest of the day passed quietly. Samuel made just enough money to buy rice for dinner and a few tablets for Hawa. That evening, as Samuel was packing up his cart, a sleek black SUV pulled up near the market entrance. Then another. Then another. 3 black SUVs with tinted windows, all parked in a row. People stopped and stared. The door of the middle SUV opened, and a man stepped out. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed in an expensive white kaftan. His beard was gray and neatly trimmed. His eyes were sharp and searching. Behind him, 2 bodyguards in black suits emerged. The man looked around the market slowly, as if he was searching for something or someone. Samuel's heart began to race. Then the man's eyes landed on Samuel's cart, and on the little girl standing beside it. The man froze. His mouth opened slightly. Then, in a voice that shook with emotion, he called out, "Zainab." Zainab's head snapped up. Her eyes went wide. "Grandpa," she whispered. Then she screamed, "Grandpa!" Zainab broke into a run, her small legs carrying her as fast as they could. The man dropped to his knees and opened his arms wide. Zainab crashed into him, and they both fell to the ground, holding each other, crying. The entire market stopped. Everyone watched in stunned silence. Samuel's heart pounded in his chest. The man, Grandpa Ibrahim, held Zainab tightly, his whole body shaking with sobs. "I thought I lost you," he whispered over and over. "I thought you were gone." "I got lost," Zainab cried. "But Uncle Samuel took care of me. He gave me food every day. He's a good man, Grandpa." Chief Ibrahim pulled back and looked at his granddaughter's face, touching her cheeks, her hair, as if making sure she was real. Then he stood up slowly, still holding Zainab's hand, and turned toward Samuel. Samuel stood frozen, his hands gripping the handle of his cart. Chief Ibrahim walked toward him, his face unreadable. When he reached Samuel, he stopped. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Chief Ibrahim's face broke into a smile. "You," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You are the one who has been taking care of my granddaughter." Samuel nodded, his throat too tight to speak. Chief Ibrahim's eyes filled with tears. "For 3 weeks, I have been searching everywhere. Police, hospitals, churches, bus. I put up posters. I offered rewards. I prayed day and night." He placed a hand on Samuel's shoulder. "And all this time she was here. Federal protected. Because of you." Samuel finally found his voice. "I only did what anyone should do, sir." Chief Ibrahim shook his head. "No. Most people would have ignored her, or handed her to the police and forgotten about her. But you..." His voice broke. "You fed her every day, even when it cost you everything." Samuel's eyes filled with tears. Chief Ibrahim pulled Samuel into a tight embrace. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for keeping my Zainab alive." The crowd that had gathered erupted into applause. Mama Kike was crying. Fatima was smiling. Even Rashid, watching from a distance, looked pale and shocked. When Chief Ibrahim finally released Samuel, he stepped back and looked at him seriously. "What is your name?" Chief Ibrahim asked. "Samuel, sir." "Samuel Adebayo." "Samuel," Chief Ibrahim repeated. "You saved my only grandchild. Her parents, my son and his wife, died in a car accident 2 years ago. Zainab is all I have left of them." Samuel's chest tightened with empathy. Chief Ibrahim continued. "I owe you a debt I can never fully repay. But I want to try. Tell me, Samuel, what do you want? Money? A house? A car? Anything. Name it and it's yours." The entire market went silent, waiting for Samuel's answer. Samuel looked at Zainab, who was smiling up at him with her big, grateful eyes. Then he looked at Chief Ibrahim. "Sir," Samuel said quietly, "I don't want money." Chief Ibrahim frowned. "No." Samuel shook his head. "I just want medicine for my sister. She's very sick. If you could help me buy her treatment, that would be more than enough." Chief Ibrahim stared at Samuel as if he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Then he laughed, a deep, joyful laugh. "Medicine," Chief Ibrahim said, shaking his head in amazement. "You save my granddaughter, and all you ask for is medicine?" Samuel nodded. "Yes, sir." Chief Ibrahim's eyes softened with deep respect. "Samuel, you are not just a good man. You are a rare man." He turned to one of his bodyguards. "Get the car ready. We're taking Samuel home. I want to meet his sister." Samuel's eyes widened. "Sir, you don't have to." "I insist," Chief Ibrahim said firmly. "And Samuel, this is just the beginning. After we take care of your sister, you and I need to talk. Because a man like you deserves far more than just medicine. Samuel didn't know what to say. He just nodded, overwhelmed. As Chief Ibrahim's men helped Samuel load his cart into one of the SUVs, Zainab ran up and hugged Samuel's leg one more time. "Thank you, Uncle Samuel," she said. "You're my hero." Samuel smiled down at her, his heart full. "No, Zainab. You're mine." And as the convoy pulled away from the market, heading toward Mushin, Samuel looked out the window at the streets he had walked his entire life. He didn't know what was coming next. But for the first time in years, he felt something he had almost forgotten. The black SUVs rolled slowly through the narrow streets of Mushin. Children playing football stopped to stare. Women carrying buckets of water on their heads paused mid-step. Men sitting outside bars turned their heads in unison. Convoys like this didn't come to Mushin. Samuel sat in the back seat of the middle SUV, his hands trembling slightly on his lap. Zainab sat between him and Chief Ibrahim, holding both their hands. The interior of the car smelled like expensive leather and air freshener. Samuel had never been inside anything so clean, so quiet, so smooth. "Which house is yours?" Chief Ibrahim asked gently as they entered Samuel's street. Samuel pointed ahead. "That one, sir. The yellow building with the cracked wall." The driver pulled up carefully, avoiding the potholes. Neighbors began emerging from their rooms, eyes wide with curiosity and suspicion. "Who done Samuel?" one man muttered. "What'n him do? East steal?" another whispered. Samuel climbed out of the SUV, and Chief Ibrahim followed with Zainab. The bodyguards remained alert, scanning the area. Samuel led them up the narrow staircase to his room on the second floor. He unlocked the door and pushed it open. "Please, come in," Samuel said nervously. "I'm sorry it's small." Chief Ibrahim stepped inside and looked around. One room. One mattress on the floor. A small kerosene stove in the corner. A few clothes hanging on a wire. A bucket of water beside the door. Cracks in the walls. A leaking ceiling patched with old cardboard. Chief Ibrahim's face tightened with emotion, but he said nothing. On the mattress, Hawa lay covered with a thin wrapper. She heard voices and tried to sit up. "Brother?" Hawa's voice was weak. "You're home early." She stopped when she saw the tall man in the expensive kaftan standing in her room. "Hawa," Samuel said quickly, "this is Chief Ibrahim. He's Zainab's grandfather." "Chief, this is my sister, Hawa." Chief Ibrahim walked over and knelt beside the mattress. Hawa tried to move away, embarrassed by her appearance. Her hair was rough, her face sweaty, her wrapper old and faded. "Please, don't get up," Chief Ibrahim said gently. "Samuel tells me you've been very sick." Hawa glanced at Samuel, confused. "I told him about your malaria," Samuel explained. Chief Ibrahim placed the back of his hand on Hawa's forehead. She was burning up. "How long have you been like this?" Chief Ibrahim asked. "Almost a month, sir," Hawa whispered. "We can't afford the good medicine." Chief Ibrahim's jaw tightened. He stood up and pulled out his phone. He dialed quickly and spoke with authority. "Dr. Badmus? It's Ibrahim. I need you to come immediately to..." He looked at Samuel. "What's the address?" Samuel stammered it out. Chief Ibrahim repeated it into the phone. "Come with your full kit. Malaria treatment. And bring anti-malarials, for fluids, everything. I don't care if you're at dinner. Now." He ended the call and looked at Samuel. "My personal doctor will be here in 30 minutes. Samuel's mouth fell open. "Sir, I can't afford." "You're not paying," Chief Ibrahim said firmly. "I am." Tears filled Samuel's eyes. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much." Zainab climbed onto the mattress and sat beside Hawa. "Are you Uncle Samuel's sister?" she asked. Hawa smiled weakly. "Yes, I am. Uncle Samuel took care of me when I was lost," Zainab said proudly. "He gave me food every day." Hawa's eyes filled with tears. She looked at her brother. "You've been feeding her from our food?" Samuel nodded, unable to speak. Hawa reached out and took his hand. "You're a good man, brother. Mama and Papa would be proud." Within 30 minutes, a private doctor arrived carrying a large medical bag. He examined Hawa thoroughly, checked her temperature, her pulse, her eyes, listened to her lungs. Severe malaria complicated by dehydration and malnutrition, Dr. Badmus said seriously. She needs 4 fluids immediately and a full course of artemisinin-based treatment. Do whatever is necessary, Chief Ibrahim said. The doctor set up in 4 drip right there in the small room. He administered injections, gave Hawa medications, and left several packs of drugs with detailed instructions. She'll need to be monitored for the next 3 days, Dr. Badmus said. I'll come back tomorrow morning. Thank you, doctor, Samuel said, his voice breaking. After the doctor left, Chief Ibrahim sat on the only chair in the room, a small wooden stool, and looked at Samuel. How long have you been living like this? Chief Ibrahim asked quietly. Samuel sat on the floor, his back against the wall. 6 years, sir. Since my parents died. And you've been taking care of your sister alone? Yes, sir. While running a food business? Yes, sir. Chief Ibrahim shook his head slowly. And still, when you found Zainab, you shared the little you had. Samuel looked down. I couldn't just leave her, sir. Chief Ibrahim was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice firm and serious. Samuel, I'm a businessman. I made my money in oil and gas, but I've also invested in hotels, restaurants, real estate. I know how to recognize valuable people when I see them. Samuel looked up. You have something most people don't have, Chief Ibrahim continued. Integrity, compassion, selflessness. Those qualities are rare, especially in this country. He leaned forward. I want to offer you something, Samuel. Not as charity, as an investment. Samuel frowned, confused. Sir, I own a chain of hotels and restaurants across Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt, Chief Ibrahim said. But I've been struggling to find good managers. People who genuinely care about the customers, about the food, about the service. Most people just want to steal. He paused. I want you to manage one of my restaurants. Samuel's heart stopped. Sir, I don't have experience managing. You've been running your own food business for 6 years, Chief Ibrahim interrupted. You know how to cook. You know how to serve. You know how to manage money. And most importantly, you know how to treat people with respect. That's everything I need. Samuel's hands trembled. Sir, I don't know what to say. Say yes, Chief Ibrahim said with a small smile. I'll train you. I'll pay you a proper salary. And I'll move you and your sister out of this place into something decent. Samuel's vision blurred with tears. Why, sir? Why are you doing all this for me? Chief Ibrahim's eyes softened. Because 3 weeks ago, I lost the most important person in my life. I searched everywhere. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I thought I would never see her again. He looked at Zainab, who had fallen asleep beside Hawa. And then today I found her. Because of you. Chief Ibrahim's voice broke. You gave me back my reason to live, Samuel. How can I not give you a chance at a better life? Samuel covered his face with his hands and wept. Chief Ibrahim stood and placed a hand on Samuel's shoulder. Tomorrow, come to my office. We'll discuss everything properly. For now, take care of your sister. I'll send someone to bring you food tonight. Thank you, sir, Samuel whispered. Thank you for everything. Chief Ibrahim smiled. No, Samuel. Thank you. As Chief Ibrahim and Zainab left, neighbors crowded around the door, whispering and speculating. Who is that man? Why was he in Samuel's room? Is Samuel in trouble? But Samuel didn't care about the gossip. He sat beside Hawa, watching the 4 drips slowly bring her back to health, and thanked God for answered prayers. The next morning, Samuel woke up early. Hawa was sleeping peacefully, her fever finally broken. The color had returned to her face. Samuel dressed in his best clothes, a white shirt Hawa had ironed for him months ago and his only pair of black trousers without holes. A driver sent by Chief Ibrahim arrived at 9 a.m. and took Samuel to Victoria Island. Samuel had never been to Victoria Island before. The roads were smooth. The buildings were tall and made of glass. Cars that cost more than he would earn in 10 lifetimes lined the streets. The driver pulled up to a massive office building with Ibrahim Global Ventures written in bold letters across the front. Samuel's stomach churned with nerves. Inside, the receptionist smiled at him, actually smiled, and directed him to the top floor. When the elevator doors opened, a secretary was waiting. "Mr. Samuel?" she asked politely. "Yes, Ma," Samuel replied. "Chief Ibrahim is expecting you. This way, please." She led him down a long hallway to a set of double doors. She knocked once, then opened them. "Mr. Samuel Adebayo, sir," she announced. "Send him in," Chief Ibrahim's voice called out. Samuel stepped inside. The office was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Lagos Lagoon. A massive mahogany desk sat in the center. Bookshelves lined one wall. Artwork hung on another. Chief Ibrahim stood up from behind his desk, smiling warmly. "Samuel, welcome. Please, sit." Samuel sat carefully on a leather chair that was more comfortable than any bed he'd ever slept on. Chief Ibrahim sat across from him. "How is your sister?" "Much better, sir. The fever is gone. She's resting. Good. Dr. Badmus will continue checking on her until she's fully recovered." "Thank you, sir." Chief Ibrahim opened a folder on his desk. "Now, let's talk business." For the next hour, Chief Ibrahim explained his proposal. Samuel would start as assistant manager at one of his mid-sized restaurants in Ikeja. He would be trained for 3 months. His starting salary would be N$150,000 per month, more money than Samuel had ever seen. Samuel's head spun. "I'll also provide accommodation for you and your sister," Chief Ibrahim continued. "A 2-bedroom apartment in a secure estate. Rent paid for the first year." Samuel couldn't breathe. "And," Chief Ibrahim added, "if you prove yourself in the first 6 months, I'll promote you to general manager and increase your salary." Samuel's hands shook. "Sir, this is too much. I don't deserve." "You saved my granddaughter's life," Chief Ibrahim said firmly. "This isn't charity, Samuel. This is a debt I can never fully repay. Please accept it." Samuel wiped his eyes and nodded. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir." Chief Ibrahim smiled and extended his hand. "Welcome to the team." Samuel shook his hand, feeling like his life had just changed forever. And it had. But not everyone was happy about it. Back at the Oshodi market, Rashid was furious. He had heard the news. Everyone had. Samuel, the poor umla seller, had somehow impressed a billionaire and gotten a job managing a restaurant. "It's not fair," Rashid muttered to anyone who would listen. "I've been selling food here for 10 years. 10 years. And Samuel just gets lucky because he fed some lost child." "Maybe it's not luck," Mama Kike said pointedly. "Maybe it's reward for doing the right thing." Rashid's face twisted with anger. Doing the right thing? He was probably planning this all along. He probably knew that girl was from a rich family. He probably kept her on purpose, waiting for the reward. "That's not true," Fatima said, walking past. "Samuel is a good man. Stop spreading lies." But Rashid didn't stop. Over the next few days, Rashid went around the market telling everyone that Samuel had kidnapped Zainab and held her for ransom. That Samuel had manipulated the situation to get money from Chief Ibrahim. That Samuel was a fraud and a criminal. Some people believed him. Some didn't. But the rumors spread. 1 week later, 2 police officers arrived at Samuel's new apartment. Samuel had just returned from his first day of training at the restaurant. Hawa was in the kitchen preparing dinner. They were both laughing, enjoying their new home, when the knock came. Samuel opened the door. "Samuel Adebayo?" one of the officers asked. "Yes, sir. We need you to come with us to the station. There's been a complaint filed against you." Samuel's stomach dropped. "A complaint? For what?" "Kidnapping and extortion," the officer said flatly. Hawa gasped from the kitchen. "What? No, I didn't kidnap anyone," Samuel said, panic rising in his chest. "That's what they all say," the second officer said. "Come quietly or we'll use force." Samuel's mind raced. Who would accuse him of this? "But can I at least call someone?" Samuel asked. You can call from the station. Let's go. They handcuffed him. Hawa screamed and cried, but the officers ignored her. Neighbors gathered at their doors, watching as Samuel was led away. At the police station, Samuel was thrown into a cell with 5 other men. The smell of sweat and urine was overwhelming. The walls were covered in graffiti. A single bulb flickered overhead. Samuel sat on the cold concrete floor, his head in his hands. How had everything gone so wrong so fast? An hour later, a police officer came and unlocked the cell. Samuel Adebayo, you have a visitor. Samuel was led to a small room where Chief Ibrahim sat waiting, his face a mask of cold fury. What is going on? Chief Ibrahim demanded the moment Samuel entered. I don't know, sir, Samuel said, his voice shaking. They said someone accused me of kidnapping and extortion. Chief Ibrahim's jaw clenched. Who? I don't know, sir. The officer standing by the door spoke up. The complaint was filed by a Mr. Rashid Bello. He claims that Mr. Samuel here kept the child on purpose to extort money from you, sir. Chief Ibrahim's eyes turned to ice. Rashid Bello? Yes, sir. Chief Ibrahim stood slowly, his presence filling the small room. Where is this Rashid Bello now? We've called him in for questioning, sir. He should be here soon. Good, Chief Ibrahim said coldly. Because I have a few questions for him myself. 30 minutes later, Rashid was brought into the station. He swaggered in confidently, believing he was about to see Samuel punished. But when he entered the room and saw Chief Ibrahim sitting there, his confidence faltered. You, Chief Ibrahim said, his voice low and dangerous. You're the one who filed this complaint? Rashid swallowed. Yes, sir. I was only trying to protect you, sir. This man Samuel, he's a liar. He kept your granddaughter so he could get money from you. Really? Chief Ibrahim said, standing up. And you know this how? Everyone in the market knows, sir. He was always asking people if anyone was looking for a lost child. He was fishing for information so he could. So he could what? Chief Ibrahim interrupted, his voice rising. So he could feed her every day for 3 weeks? So he could ask everyone he met if they knew her family? So he could bring her to his own home and share the little he had. Rashid's face turned pale. I was there, you fool, Chief Ibrahim continued, stepping closer. I spoke to people in that market. I know everything Samuel did. And not once, did he ask for money. Not once did he ask for a reward. When I offered him anything he wanted, do you know what he asked for? Rashid didn't answer. Medicine for his dying sister, Chief Ibrahim said, his voice shaking with rage. That's all. Medicine. The room was silent. Chief Ibrahim turned to the officers. I want this man arrested for filing a false police report and defamation of character. Rashid's eyes went wide. Sir, please, I was only what? Only jealous? Only vindictive? Only trying to destroy a good man because you couldn't stand to see him succeed. Rashid dropped to his knees. Please, sir, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Please don't arrest me. Chief Ibrahim looked down at him with disgust. You're not just jealous. You're a coward. He turned to Samuel. You're free to go. As they left the station, Rashid was handcuffed and led to a cell, the same cell Samuel had been in. Outside, Chief Ibrahim placed a hand on Samuel's shoulder. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Chief Ibrahim said. Samuel shook his head. It's not your fault, sir. People will always try to pull you down when they see you rising, Chief Ibrahim said. But don't let them stop you. Keep doing what's right. Always. Samuel nodded, determination filling his chest. Over the next 6 months, Samuel threw himself into his work. He learned everything about restaurant management. He treated every customer with respect. He trained the staff with patience. He made sure every dish that left the kitchen was perfect. The restaurant's sales increased by 40%. Customer reviews went from 3 stars to 5 stars. Chief Ibrahim was impressed. True to his word, Chief Ibrahim promoted Samuel to general manager and doubled his salary. But something else happened during those 6 months. Fatima, the kind woman from the market who had always supported Samuel, started visiting the restaurant. At first, she came just to eat. Then she came to talk. Then she came to see Samuel. And slowly, without either of them planning it, they fell in love. Fatima was a schoolteacher, smart and kind with a laugh that made Samuel's heart feel light. She had watched Samuel struggle for years and had always believed in him. One evening, as they sat together in the restaurant after closing, Samuel took her hand. "Fatima," he said softly, "you've been my friend for a long time. You believed in me when no one else did. You supported me when I had nothing." Fatima smiled. "You've always been a good man, Samuel. I just saw what others were too blind to see." Samuel took a deep breath. "I don't have much to offer yet, but I'm building something. And I want to build it with you. Will you marry me?" Tears filled Fatima's eyes. "Yes, Samuel. Yes." They embraced, and for the first time in years, Samuel felt complete. Chief Ibrahim insisted on hosting the wedding. It was a beautiful ceremony held in the garden of one of his hotels. Hawa, now fully recovered and attending university on a scholarship Chief Ibrahim had arranged, was the maid of honor. Zainab was the flower girl, dancing down the aisle with joy. And Chief Ibrahim walked Samuel down the aisle like a father. "You gave me my family back," Chief Ibrahim whispered as they walked. "Now you're part of mine." Samuel's eyes filled with tears. After the wedding, Chief Ibrahim made one more announcement. "Samuel," he said during the reception, "I'm making you a partner in my restaurant business. 20% ownership. You've earned it." The room erupted in applause. Samuel couldn't speak. He just hugged Chief Ibrahim tightly, overwhelmed with gratitude. But Samuel didn't stop. With his new position and Chief Ibrahim's support, Samuel opened something he had been dreaming about for months. A free food kitchen in Oshodi Market. Every day, from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., Samuel's team served free meals to street children, beggars, and anyone who was hungry. He named it Zainab's Kitchen, in honor of the little girl who had changed his life. On opening day, Zainab cut the ribbon herself, beaming with pride. Samuel stood beside her, looking at the long line of hungry people waiting for food, and felt his heart swell. This was why it had all happened. Not just so he could be successful, but so he could help others the way he had once helped a lost little girl. As the sun set over Lagos, Samuel stood with Fatima, Hawa, Chief Ibrahim, and Zainab, watching people eat and smile. "You did it," Fatima whispered, squeezing his hand. Samuel smiled. "We did it." And in that moment, Samuel understood the truth. Kindness is never wasted. It's planted like a seed. And when the time is right, it grows into something beautiful. Something that feeds not just your stomach, but your soul. Never stop doing good, even when it costs you everything. The child you help today might be connected to the blessing you've been praying for. Kindness is never wasted. It's an investment in a future you cannot yet see. Those who mock your compassion today will watch your elevation tomorrow. Keep doing what is right, and God will reward you in ways you never imagined. Subscribe if you believe good people still exist in this world. Comment, "Kindness pays" if people like Rashid who spread lies disgust you. Share this story if you've ever helped someone without expecting anything in return, and you want to remind the world that generosity is never forgotten.